What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here, joined by Billy Schmid from 97.3 The Game. Carry the G Radio, the podcast, coming at you 9 days. 9 days
Let's
until the
go.
NFL draft, Billy. I know you're ready. I know you're pumped.
I am. But, Nags, there's so much more that I can still get. Like, that's the best part. I need as many BS rumors as we can possibly get from now until April 25th. I want every bit of it.
All of it. Every inch, every moment, every rumor, every possible smokescreen. Eat it up, spit it out. Kind of like we did at CHTV about Friday afternoon, late, when Rob Demoski had his little bit on ESPN radio about Zach Tom potentially moving to center, or at least how they think he is best suited at center. Very carefully
Hall
worded.
of Fame center. Yeah.
Hall of Fame. I got to admit, that's a bit much. I mean, I love me some Zach Tom, but that's some big-time expectation to put on a guy 3 years into the league.
Just so people can think about it, say he's Jason Kelsey. Right? Like,
right? I mean, that's what they're saying.
Pretty remarkable. It would be pretty remarkable stuff if all of a sudden quickly you moved in and took over that spot. Not saying that it won't.
Nope.
But I am definitely going to be here for it to watch during training camp if this plays out. I'm excited.
Well, that's the thing. And obviously, I think a big component of that is who they end up drafting next week. And if they do end up selecting a tackle there at 25, or really anywhere along the line, especially early in the draft, you got to think that's with an eye at, changing things up along the front. But I do wonder, the whole kind of conversation, when Rob says that into a microphone on a radio program, he's been told that. And you got to think he's been told that with the purpose of, I really hope this gets out there. And so then you're like, okay, it is lying season. And it is the time of year where, like, you're talking about every rumor, every smokescreen. Like, how much of that is the Packers wanting teams to think, hey, we're definitely looking at offensive tackle at 25, which, of course, they probably are. But I just find it fascinating going down that kind of rabbit hole of what is real, what is a smokescreen, to the point where, they've had a number of tackles in for pre-draft visits. How many of those are legit? How many of those are smokescreens? I love this time of season.
I think they're doing every bit of homework on it, but I had not honestly thought about it from that aspect, Nags, of the little bit of misinformation, misleading portion. At least
a little. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I take it all with a grain of salt, Well,
100%, because you mentioned it. They want stuff out. Teams want stuff out right now.
You don't hear something unless someone wants you to hear it. That's what I always kind of remind people, especially this time of year, but kind of in general, when you're talking about football coverage, you're not privy to stuff they don't want you to be privy to 98% of the time. You know what I mean? Someone wants you to know this.
Yes. Somebody wants you to know it. Somebody wants you to let it out there. But also, not only just fans, they want the players to hear it too, right? So, like, I think that's another aspect of this that's fascinating for the Zach Tom angle. As he walks into year number 3 saying, what am I doing here?
Why am I wasting away at right tackle?
Right. God bless the right tackle market, but I want to be making some of that serious coin. They're making $100 million to play guard in the NFL. He's like, if I'm playing left tackle, let me figure out that. If I'm playing center, let me figure out that, because there's bigger coin there. So I don't believe that I don't think that it's only fans and other teams that they want interested in that. I think there can be some messaging towards the players as well, but they clearly are sending the message and tried to, I think, in training camp last year to Josh Myers, that we still expect more. We still expect leaps. We still expect more than what we got, which was better towards the tail end of the year last year.
Yeah.
But if you're going to hold on to this job, you're going to be the guy of the future. There's levels to this, and we need to get one more up.
It's interesting, too, because Myers, to your point, he did play better down the stretch, and the Packers took every opportunity to praise him publicly, right? But then look at what they do, don't listen to what they say, and what they've done is sit on their hands when it comes to possibly extending Myers' contract, right? He's heading into the final year of his rookie deal, and it's been tumbleweeds as far as any talks of an extension. So that would tell me, so far, there's probably a really good chance that this Zach Tom to center thing has some legs. Now, maybe if the draft doesn't fall the right way, right? Like, they can have plans for days, but if suddenly you get to the draft and there's a huge run on tackles before they're up, and all of a sudden the value just isn't there and they have to go another direction, well, then, maybe they stick with Tom at tackle and they stick with Myers at center, at least for one more season.
Yeah.
There's no, obvious kind of path forward there. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how things transpire over, the course of the 3 days of the draft and where they shake out as far as not only in the first round, but anywhere along the draft and who they add offensive line wise, especially along the interior, which is where they probably need the most kind of help. Just what that portends for Myers going forward, I think is going to be really, really interesting.
And it's a nice thing to have in your hip pocket, because I was trying to find, I think it was Schrager earlier on today had Barton being available. Graham Barton, the one from Duke, who's played
Duke.
everywhere, gone all over the place, on the board at 25, and the Packers go with Mims from Georgia, where that's a right tackle if you're sitting 6'8", 360, right? So
yes,
fascinating that, and his is, Schrager talks about it all the time. One of the reasons why I like his mock, different from other guys, is he's not looking at player fit. He's not looking at this guy has a better 3-cone drill.
He's not doing his own analysis. He's talking to people in the league,
putting it together, and bingo, throwing it out here and saying, okay, yeah, Arizona's definitely trading the 4 pick, right? Like Howard Balzer was disputing that, Hall of Fame voter and guy that's covered the Cardinals for a long time. That's the parts of it for this one that the Packers are hunting, I think, in the big man variety. They'll be cool, and they'll be very interested in grabbing, I think, a premier spot of a corner. Maybe the safety spot ends up helping.
Right.
But I think they're big game hunting and they're big man hunting coming up at 25.
I totally agree. And here's what I keep thinking about with that. I'm glad you brought up the Mims thing, because I know he hasn't played a lot. 8 games, 8 starts in his collegiate career, which obviously isn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
But you're projecting. Obviously, you're projecting long term, especially in the first round, committing to long term kind of growth and development. The Packers are anyway, much more so than a lot of other teams. But I just keep thinking how much it would stamp what Brian has tried to do as far as changing some of the identity of the team from a personnel standpoint. I don't think it's as easy as, he wants to get bigger and more physical, although I think that's probably part of it. But man, you look at the team that he inherited from Ted Thompson and how he has somewhat tried to shift things as far as not being so like, okay, we are just going to be focused on the athletes, right? We're not going to just be focused on pour everything into the offensive side of the ball. I mean, he's done what he's tried to pour a lot of resources, obviously, on the defensive side of the ball with Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, re-signing Jaire, etc. But then I think, you look back at the A.J. Dillon selection, you look at, the potential to try and become a more physical football team, especially when you're coming off things like the loss to San Francisco in the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. It just feels like he's tried to subtly shift it that way. I don't know how successful he's been, but Mims would fit in that kind of window, right? Where I want to get some more physicality, some more, maybe not nastiness, but just a bigger, stronger
size,
dude, who's can be able to move people up front in a way that they really haven't been able to in a long time in Green Bay, because they have focused so much on athletes.
And I wonder how much of that also, Nags, is a part of what Matt wants, right? Like, I know
good point.
This is clearly Goody's roster, and he's picking the players, and no other way of pointing that out probably than the Aaron Jones thing, right? Like, he's going to make the final decisions, but Josh Jacobs is the same deal.
The Jacobs is another good example of that, right?
It's a perfect example of it. Physicality, however, leaning in on the fact that this team wants to be a closer to 50-50 split, and they believe that Jordan is going to be better because of it. They think the offense is going to be better because of it. And I wonder how much they think, to a man, Nags, the defense is going to be better if you can move people and control the ball, something that they have not been able to do consistently for a full season.
Right.
I mean, probably since 2020, when they were one of the best.
And they were lights out
football
that year. They were lights out. Yeah.
And they were slinging it around the yard. They were able to utilize Devontae Adams and still have 8-play drives.
What's funny about that, though, is like so much of that was predicated on Rodgers at the line of scrimmage on offense, right? Because that was the year there were no fans. So they could just operate. Like, remember, down in New Orleans, what a gift in week 3 to not have Saints fans in the building. Aaron could literally run whatever the hell he wanted at the line of scrimmage because there was no noise issue.
Yeah. And so not surprising who won the Super Bowl that year, right? Like, I mean, when you're able to manipulate things right there at the line of scrimmage, it made it a hell of a lot easier. I do think and let's also say it this way, Goody likes his pipelines.
Oh, yeah.
Loves Georgia, loves Iowa.
Well, he loves his old stomping grounds. He's all in on
better
those.
Believe it.
Anybody down there in the old southeast, he's all in.
And I do think the Mims deal is that you can also point it towards a little bit of like the Caleb Jones deal, like, right? Like they want to find somebody, they want to find their Phil Lodeholt over on the right side. They want a 6'9", 6'8", massive cat. Throw him over here on the side, and let's not worry about. You can look over and see a behemoth, and know that you're going to be okay when we roll on out to your right side.
You know what's going to be hilarious is when they take Mims and then they like basically mix him in with Caleb Jones all year. The undrafted dude who's been in town for 3 years and Mims, like basically like they did last year with Nyman and Walker for a while. They'll do that with Mims and Caleb Jones. That would be hilarious.
I don't know what you think though. I think they want to give that kid a shot. So
I do too.
I think they want to give him a shot so badly.
I think him and Tenuta, I think both will have an opportunity this year, this summer. You know what I mean? Like they've been in the building for a number of years now. They're kind of on the Yosh Nyman train, so to speak, right? Where, okay, we're going to keep you around because we definitely see potential there. I do think it's kind of put up or shut up time for both those guys.
Totally.
You know, especially if the draft falls the way we expect it to, and there's an influx of offensive line talent. At some point, it's like, okay, we can't keep you around forever. Like you're going to have to make a play.
Well, and Nags, I think it's interesting too, like how we're looking at the front and who they take and where they could, because they're going to take multiple offensive linemen in this draft, right? They're not going to walk out of this probably with only one. I could see them having 3 more than just one.
Totally agree.
Where do they challenge more for right tackle, right guard, or center? Right? Because I mean, I think they and Sean Ryan, did he play lights out last year? No, he got better as it went, and that's a 3rd round pick that I think they want to give a legitimate chance to. I'm interested to see if they bring in more competition potentially at center, or if that is where Tom is going to compete, and they say we bring in 2 guys that we think could battle and be big time NFL caliber right tackles. We'll settle that debate. Let Jordan be able to see it and have everything in front of him very, very clear.
I love this. I love that. I mean, it makes sense theoretically, but of course the draft has to fall the way you want it to. That's kind of what the whole kind of reason we watch, right? Is like you can see things kind of start to piece together if, you know, you get the opportunities you want when the draft rolls around.
And I say that they're going to be big man hunting. And here they take Ennis Rakeshaw Jr. from Missouri with the 25th pick.
I wouldn't surprise. I mean,
I love him too in man-to-man.
I love him too. I think if I remember right, I don't think his testing is up to snuff when it comes to Packers thresholds. But they took Jaden Reed last year, and everyone was surprised by that selection. So I think Brian's broken more tendencies lately than he has kind of adhered to them.
Yeah. And that's definitely the breaking of the mold that I picked up from Ted, right? Like he was, if you're not inside of these parameters.
Ted was pretty damn strict.
Yep.
Ted was pretty damn strict. And Brian has shown a little bit more fluidity. A little bit more. As he always says,
I got a lot of Ted Thompson in me.
He does. He does. It's not true. You know what's funny?
Over 4.5, by the way, on the first press conference that he drops I got a lot of Ted Thompson in me.
4.5?
Or maybe 4.5 for the whole weekend. Because he'll talk, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. He'll reference it. There's no question about it. Well, are you going to be taking that live on the radio?
You better believe
Probably.
it. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. We'll be taking him as many times as possible, especially day 3. I love hearing from
him. That's the best time. That's the best time when you're wrapping up the draft, etc. It's funny you bring that up because Mark Oldacres, who's one of our contributors here at CHTV, he was doing some research for something. I don't know what, but he said he went back and was listening to Brian's press or like availability the year that he drafted Jordan Love. And you'll recall that was available via Zoom. So I was on that availability, apparently sounding like I was 3 sheets to the wind, which obviously I probably was because I was on our draft show all night.
And I wasn't doing a draft show, and I was watching that. I could imagine you were a couple sheets through.
I was. By the time Love had been selected, I was definitely on my way. So
your celebration from when that went down, celebration. It's one of the best videos, one of the best clips Tyler can throw out whenever he wants to at you.
Oh hell yes! I mean, I was excited. I was excited for a new era. New time, a new dawn, a new day in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
And let's be honest, you love show business. You were excited for some drama.
I was. We knew the narrative. You gotta love it.
You knew it was gonna get wild.
What's so funny though is that then the next year, Rodgers drops his fucking bombshell on draft night. You talk about that's a little more drama than I was looking for, Aaron. A little more than I was ready for. But hey, I told him in the locker room the next summer. This is true. I was like, thanks for the uptick in the numbers.
Appreciate the years worth of content.
Because that was like the Jeopardy summer, and then like the he wants Goody fired summer. It was like, man, you couldn't put enough Aaron Rodgers content up on the internet. Like people were lapping it up, and you saw it. Like our whole analytics was just like straight line up
through the roof when 12 was in that mist.
Was so good. So yeah, I kind of missed that. I'll admit. The Jordan Love just being a great, cool guy doesn't like really move the needle as much.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely selling a lot more 10 jerseys, but there's not as much for us to debate when, I mean, quarterback comes back looking cool, cuts a good promo for the Twitter feed.
Says, hey, happy to be back.
Happy to be back. Well, shit, man. Can you say something mean?
Give us something?
Yeah. Hey, quit helping young girls out of
their snowbank.
Out of the ditch. Come on.
Just don't ever forget, he didn't get the car out. That's the funniest part to me.
Oh, he's a quitter.
That was the lead was buried with that story. Like, got the good picture with the fan. Like, tried to help her.
Tried to help.
Car didn't move. So
I do think though my favorite part about it is all off-season conversations for those like 3 years never were, how do you improve the football team? It was what happens before free agency starts. So this year we've had all of this, how to fix the football team, how to change the defense, how to fill out Jeff Hafley's staff. Then for the last 2.5 weeks, draft season, people are saying, well, I think I know that I want Cooper DeJean. I don't think they're going to get him. And I know 4 other guys that I want.
Yep.
It's been interesting to
football talk.
Yeah, it's been a lot of football talk.
Funny you mentioned
more darkness.
No more darkness, please. No more darkness. But it's funny you should mention the return and the off-season program because Evan Siegel got a great couple of shots of the Green Bay Packers starting cornerback Jaire Alexander in attendance.
Come on now.
Had not attended last season. I think the last 2 years he has not been in attendance for the majority of the voluntary stuff, but there he is, day one, walking in with the brand new safety. I gotta admit, I love it. I love Jaire being in town. Last year, he legit said nah to like a $500,000 or $700,000 bonus. He just said, nah, I don't need it, and didn't show up. This year, apparently, he's down for getting paid. I like it.
Hey, I'll take $700,000. I mean, anyone wants to throw that around. I think the quote was that Domofsky had when he had like the screenshot of the notes app of all the different bonuses. He put in his story from last year when Jaire said he wasn't coming and talked about it at minicamp. They're like, so what would it take for you to be here for the whole season? Wait, the whole off season? I don't know, like 10 million? Yeah, probably 700,000 is a lot better this year. I also think there's something too in more into that story. Is like my favorite time is when everybody gets out of here for their 5-week break.
Yes,
it's dead, it's beautiful, and I can come on and work out. There's I'm fascinated to see and hear everything from Jaire throughout this year because the change in the defense maybe schematically is more what he likes, but I also think that there's just going to be hopefully a voice that they feel like they have there that maybe continues to ramp up the buy-in at that spot.
I agree. And you mentioned Hafley. I do appreciate Jaire being there at the beginning of kind of a new day on the defensive side of the ball, right? I mean, yes, we expect it to be a bit more aggressive, a little bit more kind of physical at the line of scrimmage, not necessarily 2-man all the time or anything like that, but I do expect that, Jaire will be utilized differently. I think he probably appreciates that and the potential of that. And I do think, there is, something to the fact that, okay, it's going to be a new system. I better be there from the jump to make sure that I'm completely kind of, immersed into whatever it is they're going to be doing on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, and none of them will say it, and it's a good thing that they won't. But I wonder how much of a conversation he really had with Matt in Goody after the Carolina game. I'm right. Like, I mean, he kind of referenced the fact that after the suspension, he had a long conversation, or Goody's like, I think I had a really good conversation with him. And I wonder how much of that was like, dude, we fully believe that you are one of the best players, if not the best player at your position.
Right.
We know what you can do and the impact you have on everybody around you. When you know that, you're going to understand how important this can be. And sometimes that just push can be just hearing somebody in a prominent spot can say it. Maybe that changes it a little bit. Changes the tenor.
No doubt. I know I'd feel, all pumped up if Corey Banke ever said that to me, but he never would. So I'm just going to sit over here being a worker bee, just trying to pump out content.
Doing what you can.
Doing what I can. Doing my 1/11th.
Damn good job of it.
That's what I do, man. So, yes, the draft coming up next week. You're going to be live from inside Lambeau Field. Is this true?
1919
change of venue?
Tap, baby. 1919 Kitchen and Tap. We're going to be there on Thursday night. Now, we're going to be on a Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, they're putting me in a casino.
Oh.
That's a dangerous spot. Dangerous.
They did this on purpose?
On purpose.
Has
clearance for me to be inside of a casino,
baby,
for 9 hours.
You're getting paid to be in a casino.
Yeah, and hopefully not lose all of the money that I make doing the show.
I was going to say
zero. So, but it's going to be good.
That's the definition of a zero-sum game.
Yeah, 100%. Depending upon how much I lose, I might be paying to be there. But that'll be Friday night. We'll be at Rock and Brews at Potawatomi Hotel Casino Friday night from 5:30 to 10. Nice. Saturday 11:30 to 3. But Thursday night, we're going to be up at 1919 Kitchen and Tap.
There you go. You and Wayne Larrivee holding it down for the Packers Radio Network.
You better believe it. And Wayne loves the NFL draft. And for us to be able to get into the weeds and start talking about some prospects, and also start wondering, can the Bears mess it up? Can the Vikings mess it up?
I mean,
that's also what I'm very excited about for Thursday.
Come on, that's going to happen. That's just that's preordained. That's in the stars. You can't help it. Hopefully, you'll be joining us at some point on next Thursday night on the CHTV live stream.
You better believe it.
You get a moment or two to hop on. You and Wayne. Hell, have you both jump on.
Listen, in between a couple of $3 pints, we're going to be jumping on with you fellas.
There you go.
And also, I'm going to potentially try to see if there's a nightcap situation there, because you guys are going to be out in the Green Bay area.
Well, Corey Banke will be at the Lyric Room downtown Green Bay.
What the heck? You promised me at the combine you're coming in.
I'm remaining in. There was a plan. There was a moment that was going to happen. That's all changed. I'm sticking here in New York.
No, so you lied to me. That's fine.
I didn't lie. Circumstances changed. All right, you're gonna live. You're gonna be all right. They'll just make that beer that we have together during the start of training camp all that much
much better.
Much sweeter. So just be patient. It'll happen.
And who knows? Maybe one or two south of in the southern hemisphere. Maybe then we can have a couple there.
There we go. Brazil. Can you imagine? Can you believe we're going to Brazil?
I'm not believing I'm going yet, but
wait, you haven't been put on the traveling team yet? What the hell is going on out here?
Not yet. Push. I'm just leaning. Right, I'm leaning on that blocking sled, Nags. I'm finding any way to make sure that I can get myself
my campaign with Tim Scott begins now.
Let's go.
That is going to happen. That has to happen. If for no other selfish reason than I need Carry the G Radio from down in Brazil. We need
down in Brazil
from Brazilian Carry the G Radio. That has to happen.
And Packers, is that what we're going with? I'm trying to figure out all the different potential cheers that we could get. Packers Brazil's got a bunch of them on the hashtags though.
Oh yeah, they do. They're busy. That is a busy group. They are pumped up, man. I love it.
The content coming off that page is so remarkable. Not stopping.
He's no joke, man. That is good stuff. I love it. All right, dog. I cannot wait to talk to you next week, because we'll have our own little kind of mini mock draft of who we're looking at, who we want next Tuesday. We'll drop that. It'll be a lot of fun. And then, we'll be throwing down. Make sure if you're listening here or watching later on, there is a link to the draft guide in the description of this video. Make sure you check that out. We've also got information for the draft party in Green Bay and the live stream here at Cheesehead TV. And of course, you can listen to the Packers Radio Network to hear Billy and Wayne all throughout the draft proceedings. Billy, can't thank you enough, man. Thanks so much for the time.
I'll talk to you next week. I'm going to get back to reading the draft guide.
Go Pack, go.